Most people grow up believing that silence means weakness. They are taught that if someone insults them, they must answer immediately. If someone disrespects them, they must defend themselves instantly. And if they walk away calmly, it means they lost. So people spend their entire lives reacting emotionally to everything. Every criticism becomes a battle. Every disagreement becomes personal. Every insult feels like a threat to their identity. But Stoicism teaches something completely different. The moment another person controls your emotions, they begin controlling your mind. That is why emotionally reactive people are easy to manipulate. A simple comment changes their mood. One insult ruins their peace for hours. One person's opinion controls their entire day. But calm people operate differently. They understand that not every situation deserves their energy. Not every insult deserves a response. And not every person deserves access to their inner world. Because true strength is not loud. True strength is restraint. The calmest person in the room is often the most powerful person in the room. Most conflicts are not about truth. They are about emotional control. Many people are secretly searching for reactions. They want to see anger in your face, tension in your voice, frustration in your behavior, because your reaction gives them psychological satisfaction. The moment you become emotional, they feel powerful. Now they know they can reach you. Now they know your emotions are available for manipulation. That is why some people use sarcasm, passive aggression, mockery, or subtle disrespect. Not because they are strong, but because they are emotionally dependent on reactions. They test people constantly. A small insult, a dismissive tone, a disrespectful joke, and then they watch carefully. Most people fail this test immediately. They over-explain themselves. They defend too much. They become irritated too quickly. But silence changes the entire dynamic. When no reaction appears, confusion begins. Because emotionally manipulative people survive through emotional feedback. Without it, they lose control of the interaction. And suddenly, the person who looked powerful becomes uncomfortable. Silence creates uncertainty, and the human mind hates uncertainty. When people cannot understand your emotional state, they begin overthinking the interaction themselves. Did I offend them? Why didn't they react? Did they ignore me intentionally? Did they see through me? This is where emotional discipline becomes psychological power, because silence forces people to confront themselves. Most individuals are prepared for anger. Very few are prepared for emotional stillness. The Stoics understood this deeply. An insult has no power by itself. It only gains power after your mind accepts it emotionally. But most people react before thinking. They defend before understanding. Their emotions move faster than their awareness. Calmness breaks this pattern. It creates space between stimulus and response. And inside that space, self-control is born. That is why silence feels so heavy during conflict, because the person expecting emotional chaos suddenly encounters composure instead. And composure quietly destroys manipulation. Emotionally stable people make unstable people uncomfortable, not because they are aggressive, not because they are dominant, but because they cannot easily be controlled. Most social interactions are emotional measurements. People constantly study reactions, tone, body language, and expressions to understand who feels insecure and who feels strong. That is why emotionally impulsive people expose themselves quickly. The faster someone reacts emotionally, the easier it becomes to influence them. But calm people interrupt this entire pattern. When someone remains steady under pressure, they communicate something powerful without speaking. They show that their peace is not dependent on approval, not dependent on winning arguments, and not dependent on controlling how others perceive them. That type of emotional independence is rare, and rare things naturally command attention. This is why truly confident people usually speak less. They do not feel desperate to prove themselves constantly. Their stability speaks for them. While others lose emotional control trying to dominate the room, they remain centered. And over time, people trust calmness more than loudness. Stoicism is not emotional suppression. It is emotional mastery. A Stoic still feels anger, still feels disappointment, still feels frustration. But they refuse to let temporary emotions control permanent behavior. That difference changes everything. Weak minds obey emotions instantly. Strong minds observe emotions before acting. As Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." That single idea can transform your entire life, because once you stop trying to control other people, you finally begin controlling yourself. And self-control creates freedom. Freedom from emotional chaos. Freedom from manipulation. Freedom from constantly needing validation. Most people are exhausted because they carry emotional battles everywhere they go. The Stoic learns to protect their attention carefully. They understand that peace is too valuable to hand over to every careless opinion or emotional person they encounter. That is why restraint becomes power, not because silence defeats others, but because silence protects your inner stability. Manipulative behavior survives through emotional noise. The moment emotional reactions disappear, patterns become visible. A person makes a sarcastic comment. You stay calm. They try again. Still nothing. Now their frustration becomes visible. Without realizing it, they begin exposing themselves. Their tone sharpens. Their behavior becomes more obvious. Their emotional dependence reveals itself naturally. This is why silence often exposes people more effectively than arguments ever could. Arguments create distraction. Silence creates observation. And once people begin observing clearly, repeated behavior becomes impossible to hide. The Stoics believe pressure reveals character. Anyone can appear calm when life is easy. But tension exposes emotional habits honestly. Some people reveal patience. Others reveal insecurity. Others reveal addiction to conflict itself. And eventually, observers notice the difference. One person appears grounded. The other appears emotionally unstable. No explanation is needed. Behavior speaks for itself. Real strength is not emotional aggression. It is emotional control. The strongest person is rarely the loudest. Usually, it is the individual who remains calm while everyone else loses balance. Because calmness communicates inner authority. It tells the world, I will not allow temporary emotions to control my behavior. That is true freedom. Most people spend their entire lives trying to control others. The Stoic focuses on controlling themselves. And once you master your reactions, people lose the ability to manipulate your peace. Not every insult deserves your attention. Not every opinion deserves emotional investment. And not every battle deserves your participation. Some conflicts survive only because people keep feeding them emotion. The moment the emotion disappears, the conflict collapses by itself. That is the power of silence. Not silence from weakness, silence from discipline. Because when your peace becomes stronger than your need for validation, the world stops controlling you so easily. And once people realize they cannot control your emotions anymore, they stop believing they can control you at all. If this message spoke to something deeper inside you, subscribe now for more videos on Stoicism, emotional discipline, and self-mastery. Because some lessons do not just change your behavior, they change the way you move through the world.